Here's who's on Bumble. Boys sitting there, waiting to be sucked, thinking the girls should be competing for them.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Hey, welcome to the men's room where awareness and utility is the focus. This video, we have several responses and replies to Shallon Lester, who's a content creator for women, and she discusses dating apps, F-boys. So without further ado, let's get started.
Here's why I don't like Bumble, okay? The whole deal with Bumble is that girls say hi first. And Bumble's like, hey, you're empowered. You've got the control. What's the big deal? It's just saying hi. Hear me now. If it's so not a big deal to say hi to someone with your thumbs on an app while you sit on the toilet, why can't guys do it?
Yes, and why can't women do it?
Here's who's on Bumble. Boys sitting there waiting to be sucked, thinking
Yes, act as if women are just sexual objects ready for use.
the girls should be competing for them. That they are the hottest commodity. It's like, what do you got? Oh, that's your opening line? Oh, you went out and said that? Look at the pictures? No. How about you? No.
But that's how it is now. We all know that women date the top echelon of men, the top 10 to 15 to 20%. The rest of the men are basically invisible to women. So this upper echelon of men has all the options. So yes, that's how it is.
No is right. That's a big no from Shallon. Patagonia, is that your dog? Something. If he can't come up with a hello and a question to a person he knows absolutely nothing about, what do you think that relationship is actually going to be like?
Again, if it's so basic and it's so common and it's so easy, why can't women do it?
Because like I've always said, men are hunters, right? And when you picture a hunter, why is that our job? Because you know what? Guys don't do it for us. Who we are as women rests on our shoulders no matter what. What's a guy going to do? Is he going to go on birth control? No.
God, I wish we could. I wish we could totally go on birth control. Women have over 20 methods of birth control. Men have condoms, vasectomies, and abstinence. Not only that, men get forced into parenthood regularly, forced with child support payments. No one can ever force a woman into motherhood. I totally wish that we could go on birth control. Yes.
Is he going to get pregnant and have the babies? No.
Just exactly like what Kevin Samuels has spoken on. To have babies is a feature. It's not as if it's a skill of sorts. And the smug way that she just said no, that men are going to go on birth control, is just so pretentious.
You can talk all you want about gender roles and I'm a feminist. Girl, if you think doing a man's work is feminism and equality, you have been bamboozled by the patriarchy.
But that's what women wanted. Women wanted to go to work like men, go to war like men, and have sex like men. And that's exactly what feminism is. It's basically masculinity.
The feminist movement really went wrong when it said that anything that was the male model was the thing that women had to be.
Right.
And instead of saying, no, the female model is a great model.
My point exactly. Moving on.
Right? You still have to do all the girl things. The bras, the hair, the makeup.
No one makes you do those things. That's your choice. Your body, your choice, right?
The making less than a man for the same job. Less.
Gender wage gap has been debunked numerous times. Research, Dr. Warren Farrell, who was on the board of NOW, National Organization for Women, with Gloria Steinem. He wrote the book, Why Men Earn More. I'll leave a link for that in the description.
Less reproductive rights. Worse.
Less reproductive rights than who? Because men have zero reproductive rights. Women have abortion, adoption, and safe haven law, with the exception, I think, of 2 or 3 states that have banned abortion. But yes, no one can force a woman into motherhood. Men get forced into parenthood regularly.
Still physically.
I'll leave a link for safe haven law, since most people don't know or understand what that law is. I'll leave a link for that in the description.
We're still physically vulnerable.
So you're both strong, independent, and empowered, and the physically vulnerable sex. Got it.
Men don't get raped the way women do. Men don't get shoved onto subway tracks the way a woman does. They don't get assaulted and slapped and hit. That doesn't happen. And
That's incredibly false. I'll provide a few examples with respect to assault that men face.
Let's talk about domestic violence and the Duluth model. Again, lots of things to talk about here. I want to focus on the fact that the Duluth model assumes that the root cause of domestic violence is patriarchy. The root cause of men hitting women is that patriarchy requires men to use violence to keep women in line. So, of course, drugs, alcohol, not having a job, poverty, none of those things play any impact. Lack of conflict management, growing up in a poor household, none of those things matter about domestic violence. This is about men using violence to express their domination of women. Two things that I think really throw a wrench in this. There's lots of things that throw a wrench, but these are some big ones. Deborah Capaldi, this is a great study. She's looking at a systematic review of risk factors for intimate partner violence. What's the best thing that predicts whether or not you're going to get punched in the face in the kitchen? The best predictor is whether or not there are two women present. Lesbian households have the highest rates of domestic violence of all partnerships. You put two women together, those just go at each other. And nobody's surprised by this, right? What's the next biggest predictor? Whether or not women hit men. It turns out they don't like that. Who knew? Now, a lot of men have been socialized into not hitting back. This is a big mistake, in my opinion. Lots of women are brave enough to hit men because they know they're not going to hit back. In unidirectional violence, where only one person throws a punch, 70% of the people hitting are women because men don't hit back. So if patriarchy is the root cause of domestic violence and women are throwing punches and not getting hit back, I don't think you're doing patriarchy right. You might need to work through that one. Where are women safest? Where are you least likely to experience not just domestic violence, but any violence of any kind? This one makes feminists really scream. In traditional nuclear families where the mother is married to the biological father of her children, that is the safest place for women and children from all types of violence. So again, I'm not sure you're doing patriarchy right.
And that is never going to happen because men and women are not equal, not only in the eyes of society, but physically we're not.
That is true. Men and women are not equal in the eyes of society. Women have all the reproductive rights, adoption, safe haven law, and abortion. Women are favored heavily in divorce courts. Women can vote without selective service obligation. Social mantras include happy wife, happy life, women and children first in an evacuation, ladies first on a date. Women get the majority of money for cancer research, and the list goes on. But we're going to leave it here for today's video. Thank you for your time in the men's room as always. Until next time, stay aware, stay sharp.